Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the channel, Flash 001 USA. Today is Saturday, it's July 29th, the year is 2023, and it's right at 12 noon. Okay, I don't think I've ever made a video of the garden when it was in its final run or when it was winding down. So this year I'm going to do this and we're going to take a look at everything. We did quite well with it. We harvested quite a bit off of it and we're still getting stuff off of it right now. In other words, we jumped for joy and we got our hands on it. So we did pretty good with the garden this year, and I'm going to insert a couple of pictures of some of the stuff that we've taken out of here. But this is going to be just a very brief video. I'm just going to take you guys through a quick walk and let you see what we got going on and give you a couple of quick explanations. Stand by while I shut the camera down and take it off the tripod. Okay, starting with the corn. I think you can probably tell from the video that it's made its run, and we did good with this. Not only have we had fresh corn on the table to eat, but we wound up putting almost 60 ears of corn back in the freezer from this tiny little area right here. So we did good with this. The green beans, they've done good. And as a matter of fact, even though they're winding down, they're still flowering. If you can see this or not. So we've been eating on green beans on a regular basis. Not only that, we've canned a bunch of this stuff because it produced so well when it first kicked in. We had a bunch that we were able to can and put back, and then we've been eating fresh green beans off of this on a pretty regular basis. So they did good. Moving on to the okra. Boy, this did good. It's really starting to do good now with this hot weather now that it's kicking in. You can see right now we got some to be picked. I've been picking on this every day. And as I had mentioned in the previous video, you don't need to have a lot of this out. We've had this producing where we've been eating off of it even before it cranked up. We were getting okra off of it and having it on the dinner table at least once a week. So we were doing that, having breaded okra. We had green beans, we had corn from the garden, even potatoes. And I'm going to tell you right now, that goes great when you make homemade meatloaf. So we've done good here at the Flash 001 USA compound. Moving on very quickly. It looks a little shabby because the heat's taking its toll here, but it's still doing good. This is the cantaloupe patch, and literally for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks we've been eating on this stuff almost every day. The only thing about cantaloupe is it wants to all ripen all at the same time. So we've had so much that came out of here that we're turning around, and we've been giving this to some of our neighbors. But the good thing is the people we've even given it to, a lot of these people grow gardens also, so they turn around and give us stuff out of their garden that we necessarily don't have here. So yeah, man, this has done really good. As mentioned about the potatoes, I wound up harvesting half of them. Wound up getting a 5-gallon bucket where it was literally just filled all the way to the top with a few extra poured over. And this side here, it ran a little bit faster than these last 2 boxes. But these last 2 boxes all of a sudden started getting nice and green again, and they're shooting flowers out. So I don't want to mess with these because I know what I'm going to see off of this. I'm going to have some giant bacon-sized potatoes that's going to come out of this. But yeah, still going. And we actually had some decent-sized bacon potatoes that come out of those boxes, although it was an early harvest. Now, I don't know, for those of you that may or may not have seen the video, but I'll refresh some people on this. Originally, I had started out with sweet potatoes over here, which I've got them back now. But the potatoes were so bushy and thick that they were overshadowing these sweet potatoes, and sweet potatoes have to have the sunlight to do anything. They just don't run without that extreme heat and light. And I wound up moving it was like 4 or 5 plants. I wound up moving them over here, right in this area right here. And speaking of the sweet potatoes, you can see what these things have done. Now this isn't just what I had that was over here, but this is like a handful of plants that came out of that box, and you can see we're already flowering. So this is a good sign right here. But man, this is like a jungle. I wound up having to make a trellis just to get everything so that it wasn't running all across the yard. I wanted to have it where it was kind of somewhat controllable, if you can call that controllable. But a lot of this are the little cuttings that I was showing you guys in the last video. These came from those little cuttings that I had up when I was explaining how I was doing this. Flashback. I do plan on putting out more sweet potatoes this year than what I've got, because these can be a meal by themselves. They're so full of nutrition. And, you know, compared to regular potatoes, these things here actually have a lot more to offer as far as, you know, benefits of eating them. Some people don't know this, but a sweet potato is actually not a potato. If I'm not mistaken, it's related to, and don't hold me to this, I think the morning glory family. But people call them sweet potatoes because they come out of the ground. Anyhow, they're tanners, either way you look at it. All right, we're back now. Okay, but yeah, look at this. So I know we're going to do good off of this, and this is going to be a nice producer by the time fall rolls around. Okay, moving on to the bell peppers and the hot peppers and the tomatoes. We'll start with the hot peppers first. I want you guys to see what we got here. Now, I've already harvested a whole bunch, but there's plenty more on here. Hopefully the camera's staying in focus. There's a lot more that I'm waiting to turn red. And we've got a bunch of these that we have harvested and have put them back. So these will be used in cooking. Now moving on to the tomato plants, these have done really, really good. I did something different this year, as rather than canning these, because we've got so many tomatoes that we've got canned, that I wound up taking the things and slicing them up and putting them in a food dehydrator. And I've got bags and bags of dried tomato slices that can be used from anything from pizzas to grinding it down to a powder to make tomato paste with. So the sky's the limit with this, and these things are still producing. I mean, they're loaded down with tomatoes all through it. And by the way, they got so heavy. Let's check this out here. They got so heavy and so loaded. You see the strings that I've got run off everything. They started pulling the baskets over, man. They started tipping everything. And we wound up with loads of tomatoes just off of 2 plants. The thing is, we're still eating off tomatoes from the last couple of years. And although we're eating on it on a regular basis, we produced so much for the last couple of years and now this year that we're looking pretty good. So should a snafu happen thanks to Brandon and friends, we're going to be okay. I would have enough time, in other words, if things kind of got a little bit on the shaky side, I would have enough food put back, just as it is right now, stands right now, that the following year I could take this garden and maybe even, you know, make it larger by 3 times or something and be able to put enough food back, provided it kicked and didn't have any snafus with deer or anything, and be able to come in here and have plenty to eat on. The bell peppers. Man, we got so much bell pepper that's been cut up, put in the freezer, it's off the charts. These things are just producing. Now, like the regular peppers, these things are in their prime right now. They're starting to kick pretty good. I wish there were some of the larger ones on there, but whether it's actually 1 or 2 on here. So, give that another day or so and it'll be ready to pluck. Actually, there's 2 of them there. I didn't see the one below it. Now, as I had mentioned last time, I'm trying my hand at growing garlic. And what I did is I took some bulbs and I put them in the freezer to fool them into thinking that it was wintertime, because you have to do that or they don't divide. So this is a half-ass attempt. I just wanted to see what happened, and I stuck them in here with the bell peppers. So we're going to see how this does, and if it does even somewhat decently, I plan on putting a whole bunch of garlic out. Go price the stuff, and you'll see why I'm doing this, because I love garlic and I eat it on a daily basis. So, well, we do actually, not just me by myself, since both of us eat it. And yeah, we're going to put out as much as we can. Well, that's about it. And we'll end it on the note with a flower for you here. Oh yeah, man. This little okra patch, it's kept our plate full. So we've done good with this. But anyhow, as mentioned, the garden is winding down, and I didn't have any major snafus this year. I did have one time. You can see where I'm missing some corn stalks here. I should have mentioned this earlier, but we don't know if we had a deer or something come here, but something came in here and pulled the stalks up and carried them over here, and had actually eaten the corn off the stalk that was ready, almost ready to pick, and man, that pissed me off. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I had the electric fence unplugged. For some reason, I think I got out here and had weed eated and forgot to plug it back in. But I wound up putting out some organic stuff that you sprinkle around the perimeter of the garden. I did that along with the electric fence. We didn't have any more problems with it. So there you go. I just wanted to give you guys an update on this, and it did really good. It did quite well. Hopefully, some of you out there that are contemplating doing this, you should really try your hand at it. YouTube is a school. It's a classroom of how to do this right the first time. Now for me, I've grown gardens all my life. Not everything, but I've grown the basic things like tomatoes, corn, beans, and stuff like that. So I got a lot of my knowledge off of this, especially with sweet potatoes and growing cantaloupe. I got a lot of this basically off of YouTube. You know, you sit up late at night, you can't sleep, or you just sit up, because I'm a YouTube addict. I like to watch a lot of stuff like this. And for me, it's a classroom, and then I bring it out here and try it in the real world. Anyhow, guys, I have got my hands full today. Right now, I'm going to go and I'm making up more compost piles. So that's where it stands now. And I've actually let my grass go to hell so that I'd have enough out here to have this fresh green grass to mix with my dead leaves from compost piles. And I got all sorts of stuff to put into it also. I've got all the stuff from the corn where I harvested the corn, and that's what was going over the corn right there. All the husk that was on it. So that, I actually got a pile of kudzu over here that I pulled out from the woods. That'll become carbon material also. And we got a lot of work to do. This is going to be an all-day job doing this, but I just wanted to share this with you. All right, I'm going to shut the hell up. And on that note, we'll take a pause. I'd like to hear your feedback on this. So once again, I think this is the first video that I've done of the garden when it was winding down. I think it is. And if not, then it would have been a very, very early video when I first started doing this. Yeah, this did good. All right, everybody. I want you to have a good weekend. Flash 001 USA. And we're turning the camera off so we can go break a sweat with a couple of lawnmowers.